Hi everyone, my name is Debbie and I'm on the creative design team at Sizzix, and I'm very excited to share with you a project I've created using our Christmas character box. Now, though it has Christmas in the title, you don't have to specifically use it only for the holidays. So if you're familiar with it, it creates this adorable elf box, and with all the features that are included in the die set, it can also create Santa and this adorable Christmas tree with all the lights and all the trimmings. But I've created something that you can use any time of the year, especially during the fall, and that would be candy corn. So let me walk you through it, showing you exactly how I've created it. So the Christmas character box comes with 15 individual thinlits. You have the main triangle shape of the box, the base, the sides of the box, and depending on what you're going to be working with, if you're going to be doing the elf or the Christmas tree, these are all the different pieces you would need. So this part here would cut all the strands and the garland and the individual lights. So if you could see how tiny these are, something like this, I would recommend that you would use the adhesive sheets on the back of your cardstock. This is a product that we have that's a permanent adhesive sheet. You peel it off and adhere it to your cardstock on the wrong side of the cardstock, and then go ahead and die cut it. And when it's all die cut, each individual piece will have the adhesive backing. Then you will peel that off and it's already a sticker. For something this intricate or any of our other intricate dies, that is a must unless you want to fuss with any kind of glue. But I highly recommend that for the smaller pieces. This is a little tab that it kind of just finishes off the top of the box. It's a little piece that folds right in half so you can see the score line in the middle, folded in half, and it just makes the top of the box kind of gives it a clean finish. So you would need to cut two of these. That's the front of the box. So the front and the back. So two of these. It has the tabs and everything, makes it so easy to assemble. One of these and two of these, and those are the sides, which also punches the hole, and it's ready for your thread through your ribbon or your twine, whichever you're going to be using. These are all the individual pieces for the features of the elf or Santa. So it could be his eyes and his eyeballs. It could also be his nose. This is the oval. And for the elf's ears, you have the outside and the inside if you want to change it up and do two different color tones of his ears. And whoops, one of them fell off in transit. There we go. So these are all the little pieces, and also the embellishment on his collar, which is this piece. So all these fun little pieces that are included in your die set makes this a great die set to have, not only for the holidays. So when your holidays are over, don't pack it up, because I'm going to be showing you some other things that you can use throughout the year. So let me get you started on how I'm going to make that. So like I said, you need to cut two of these, and one of these. I already have these two cut just so we could save time and I don't have to run through the process of cutting them both. So I have one of these already cut, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the other pieces, and then another little technique that I use. So as you can see, I already cut one out. I'm using my Big Shot machine, and I'm going to cut another one of these since I need two, another one of these since I need two, and then I'm going to go ahead and use this piece here. Although I'm not going to be using it for the lights, since there are no lights on candy corn, unless you're going to light it up. But I'm going to go ahead and use this piece, and you'll see why. So let me run this through here like this. Cutting pad on the bottom, and another one on the top. Now, I recommend that you run through your dies through the machine kind of at an angle, because if the rollers hit it at the straight edge, your machine's kind of like hop. Doesn't damage the blade or the machine. It just gives a longer life of your die if it hits it at an angle. So it just slowly cuts it through at an angle and then makes its way over the rest of the die. So go ahead and run that through. The crackling is normal, and same with this, seeing the little scratch marks on your cutting pad doesn't ruin that. You'll just need to flip it regularly, and from time to time you'll want to flip the bottom cutting pad to the top. So I have this one, and as you can see, it cuts the little tabs perfectly also. So I have this piece here, I have this piece here. Now you can see I will need my die pick to get all these little tiny pieces out, because I don't need them, but just for the future, you don't want to start using your die and then you're like, why is it not cutting? And you realize, oh shoot, I left all these pieces in. So like I said, the die pick goes perfectly through the poke holes in the back and it pops everything out. So what I need for this one is I actually want the negative space on this piece here. This is the part I'm actually going to be using. So I'm going to put these aside, and it also cut the hole, and you can see the tabs there. So these are ready to go. I'm just going to trim this piece off because this is the part that I want. I don't want the positive, I just want the negative, and you'll see why. Put all my die pieces off to the side, and I don't need my machine anymore. So let me get you started on how you want to assemble your box. So you have two of these. These are the front and back. You have two of the sides, and the base, which I think I forgot to cut. So let me run that through really quickly. My apologies. Thought I was done with my machine. Just do that really quick. Just like that, ready to go. So there's the base. I've got my sides and all the other pieces. Something else I had cut ahead of time when I was talking about the adhesive sheets, I had taken the Banana Blast color, which is from our original assortment of cardstock, and I took the orangish shade from the bold assortment of cardstock. I ran those, I adhered the back with the adhesive sheets just so there will be a sticker, and that's what created the different bands here. So that I pre-cut. Run it through one at a time. It cuts just as well as it does, even though there's an extra layer of adhesive sheets. It cuts beautifully and it's ready to adhere down. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these score lines where you see them. So I'd like to fold it forward and then backwards just to get an even fold. And they fold perfectly. Then I'm going to take my fold and form tool just to give it a nice strong crease. And then you also will see the base also has a fold. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that up on the score line. Use my tool again. And since I have another one that I need to do, I'm going to do the same on this side. The score lines really scored perfectly, not too strong where you're going to be afraid that they'll cut through. It's the perfect depth of the blade, and it just does, it's not a blade. Actually, it is a blade, just isn't as deep or as long as a cutting blade. So I've got both of these ready to go. So these two are all set. That's the front and the back. You'll see the sides also have a score line. I'm going to fold that up just on the base, and the same with this one. Okay, so these are all ready. The front and backs and both sides. And this is the base. So what I like to do is I like to hide my, what do you call it, fixings or workings on the inside, because I don't like the tabs to be visible on the exterior of anything. And I love boxes, so when we come up with a box, I'm always hoping that I get to be the one to try it out, test it out, and come up with different things to do with it, because I love to try to figure it out without instruction on how it works. So this is the base. You're going to want to adhere all of these to the base, and they match up perfectly lengthwise of the sides and lengthwise of the front and back. So they line up perfectly. So what I like to do is we're going to put I'm going to use our express glue. It's quick drying express glue and dries. Once it's done, it is down. So I like to I'm going to put the adhesive, the express glue on the good side of the paper, just on the tab. And I'm just going to use my finger to dab it up a little bit. And then I'm going to line it up right there on there. So you still see it's on the good side. So see how that matches up perfectly? I do the same thing with this side. Put the adhesive on the good side of the paper. And that's the textured side on this. That's a good rule to remember. If you're die cutting, always put the blade on the good side of the paper. It's just a good thing to remember, good rule to remember, not an actual rule. Because you want to make sure, especially if you're doing a word or alphabet, you want to make sure that your blade is on the good side of the paper, whether it's pattern or solid, but with a texture, just because you want to be able to, it'll be legible. Otherwise you turn it over and it's not legible on the correct side. So see how those match up perfectly? Because the width of the blade is exact. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So you don't want to put away any of your holiday dies, because And you never know, there might be just one little piece of it that you think, oh shoot, that would be perfect for this project. And if it's packed away with holiday stuff, then you have to come up with a plan B. So this die set I love, and it was just so fun. And I'll show you when I'm done a couple other projects that I came up with that possibilities were endless. I could have kept going and going. Okay, same thing with this side. Match it up against the score line and against the edge of the base. And so it should look like that, okay? So when it's all dry, these sides will all fold up because you manipulated and folded it on the score line. So the box is starting to take its shape as you intended. So now you can see exactly why you want your assembly and all the glue and everything on the inside, just so it's not visible in the exterior, because it gives it a more of a cleaner finish. All right, let me put this aside. So the reason I cut that one piece, if I can find it, here it is I want to make sure that when I do my candy corn, I want all the pieces to kind of line up with themselves. So I have the yellow, and like I said, I already did the adhesive backing on that. So I have the yellow. I want to cut the yellow at an angle. Let me trim off the at the score line here. I want to cut. You can still cut it just if you want to measure it with something else. But I thought this was perfect. It's part of the die set, and I know it's going to be an even kind of a not a loop. What's the phrase? Oh my gosh, just kind of a pattern where it's just kind of rounded at the base, so it kind of gives that candy corn dimension idea. So I want to put this on the bottom, and I have this peeled off already a little bit, and same with this one, because I'm going to use that, have this adhere to itself also. So I want to just match this up. It's just so you know it'll fit perfectly on top of the candy corn front that you've already assembled. So I'm going to take this, I'll put that off to the side, and I'm going to use this just kind of as my guide. Okay, so this is the area that I'm going to cut, and I want it to lay up against the base of or the top of the yellow. So this is the orange, and I'm going to take, you could take a pen, but I don't want the markings there. So I'm going to take my die pick, and I'm going to go along the trimming here, and scored it just a little bit, and then I'm going to cut that right along the area, and I know it's going to match up because I'm cutting them at the same time. Okay, so I have that ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead, and while this is still open, it's just easier to do it that way. I'm going to lay that down. Okay, and then now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it with the white. Now the white, I already cut off the tabs of the white on the side, just because I know that I don't need to adhere it down. It's going to be the point of the candy corn. So I'm just going to measure that up, just kind of line it up so it matches. I'm going to do the same idea with that little guide, just to give myself the tip. And I know it'll match up. Put that down, shift it a little bit. I know it'll match up perfectly. Actually, I'll do it on this side so I can see the point better. I know it'll match up perfectly with the orange because it was cut at the same time as well, just like the other two. Peel that off. Okay, I'll take my little guide here, and this is about where I want the point of the candy corn to be. Bring it down just a little bit. Do my marking. I could have used a pencil and done it that way, but I didn't want to leave a mark on my paper in case the eraser didn't take it off. And that's all set. So I've got my orange. That was cut at the same time at the bottom as the yellow, so I know to line up, and I also have this part here cut at the same time as the white, so to line up with the base of the white. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that down, kind of like a little puzzle. Now if I wanted, because it's white on white, I wouldn't have to necessarily, let me trim that down just a little bit. I wouldn't have to necessarily add the white on there because it's already white, but these are another layer, so these are a little thicker, so it looks like, I don't know if you probably can't tell here, but having these added onto the white makes them a little thicker, so I like the idea of them all being the same thickness. So if I did just use the piece on here, it's no problem. It's not like people are going to notice, but I just like the idea of them all being the same thickness. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down, make sure the points are lined up. And there you have a sweet little treat. So these tabs here will adhere to your sides here. Same with this side. Now I'm going to tell you a couple options of how you can close it if you're going to be using it as a little gift with little treats inside. Now the fun thing about this is, you know, you could put something, it could be a little party favor at a Halloween party now that we can finally do, we missed Halloween last year with our festivities, so if you want to put little plastic spiders in there or some kind of fun little candy, you could do that, or you can fill it up and completely close it up with on all sides. That way they kind of have to tear it open, but it's such a cute box. After all your work, you don't want them to rip it open. They could probably reuse it. It could be something that you could do if you're doing a gift for any, whether you're using the Christmas ones or any of the other ideas, you could fill them up with, you know, roll up some coins or, you know, just a little small gift. Jewelry would fit perfectly in here. So you could do it that way and just have these two tabs closed up. So I'm just going to hold it till it dries. So if you're just going to do it like this, that's perfectly fine, and then have these two tabs, just tuck them in there, and then when you tighten it with the bow, like this, it'll keep that side in, and when they receive whatever they're receiving, they can just pull that down. But if not, if you want it to be completely closed and you don't want it to accidentally pop open, then you could go ahead and adhere it all together, and that's what I'll do here, just to make sure it stays put. And so you're just going to close it like that. Actually, you know what I should do before it closes is quickly run the yarn through. Now twine, there's so many fun ribbons out there for any time of the year. I could have used a yellow and white or orange and white. This is how quick that express glue dries. Let me put some more on there. I didn't thread my string fast enough for my yarn. So I'm just going to hold it there like that. And if you want, you could do the same thing, repeat the same orange, yellow, and white on the back side. But if it's not something that you think they would notice or appreciate, then you could just do one side. So that's it. All closed up, sealed, ready to deliver. It could be a great place card, put someone's name on it. You could have little treats hanging off of a tree. You know, if you have those little fun black glittery looking fall trees in your house, you could do that. That would be really cute. But the possibilities are endless. It's just such a fun die set to have on hand. I love everything about this, especially putting it together. It was so fun to figure out. And once I figured it out, it's like, oh my gosh, how easy was that? So I've had a blast with this. I think it would be really fun if you did it in different Christmas colors, if you used our festive paper cardstock or even our glitter ones, any of the paper cardstocks. How fun that would be to do them all in holiday colors and then number them and do 25 of them in an advent calendar. I'm a huge advent calendar fan, and I think that would be so much fun. So that's the candy corn. I'd also done it previously with the black, so that turns out really fun too. This is a little lighter. This is a little obviously darker, but I think set around the house and little treats on Halloween. If you're going to someone's house and you want to give them a little something, or your neighborhood kids, if you want to give them a little something extra special versus the regular handouts, this is something really fun that you could do. So love this idea. And let me just show you some of the other ones I came up with. So as you know, it's the Santa, the tree, and the elf. So those are the ones that accessories come with the set. And then like I just showed you was the candy corn. And then I came up with pizza. So I thought that was really fun. Put some little money in there and give it to your kids if they're going to go out for pizza. It's just a fun little project, or just somebody that you know loves pizza. So this is fun. I just used our brown cardstock, our Banana Blast, and then I took the darkest, I believe it's the crimson, I'm pretty sure, in our festive cardstock. And then I dipped it in I pressed the die cut pieces. I used our confetti pocket die set. It comes with heart confetti and circle confetti, and this is just one of the 4 sizes of the confetti. So I cut those out in our crimson color cardstock from the festive assortment, and then I just pressed each circle into our embossing ink pad, the clear embossing ink pad. Press that down where it's pretty saturated, and then with our tweezers, I just dipped it into the clear embossing powder, and then with the tweezers still on there, use the heat tool, and look at how fun that is. It almost looks pepperoni-ish with the glistening of the delicious oil that comes out of those. So that's the pepperoni, and then I thought this would be fun for summer. I did the watermelon slice. I'm a big fruit fan. I thought, oh, I could have done kiwi, citrus, anything. So I thought this would be this is a really fun idea. So using that, and then what I used for the seeds, I used the tiny lights. So if you remember when I cut this one out, it cut out the, at first when I saw this, I thought it was the little footprints for the elves, and I thought, well, that doesn't make sense because the elf doesn't have feet on this project. But it's actually the little lights that you have when you're creating the Christmas tree box out of this die set. So those are the lights, but I cut them out of black, and like I said, I had used the adhesive sheets because for those tiny pieces you want it to be a sticker, otherwise you got to fuss with the wet glue. So that was already a sticker. White comes in our either our neutral cardstock set or our festive cardstock, and this is the dark green, the fir green, or fir tree, I believe. So that's what I use there. And then, you know, watermelon has those stripes in the rind, so I just fussy cut with my scissors, just kind of a ripply pattern, and just adhered those down, and it's a full watermelon slice with all complete with the watermelon rind. So those are the different ideas that I've come up with the Christmas character box, and it was just a lot of fun to come up with these ideas and fill them up with fun things, and I'm sure you'll have a great time creating some fun projects. I hope you've been inspired by the project I created using the Christmas character box. So whether you're doing something for the actual holidays, whether it's Christmas or fall or one of the fun seasons like summer, we would love to hear from you. Please include #MyMakingStory, and we would love to see what you've created. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. If you have any questions or comments, please include them in the comment section below. Have a great day, and thanks again for joining us.